Hey, I'm your host, TheDoctorDanko, come on in. You've been missing out, so let's begin. Pumpkin_crumb is your host here too. When you hear the beats, you know what to do. Why didn't you want me? Why didn't you want me now? Why didn't you want me? Why didn't you want me? Hey. Good evening and welcome to Why Did Not You Warn Me?
Weird.
I'm your host, Matthew, TheDoctorDanko.
Hillary Crumb. I'm
The
here too.
co-host.
If you will.
I will.
I won't. I'm gonna go.
Don't go.
Okay.
No. At the
No.
The last few episodes that we had, I uploaded them pretty close together, back to back, because
Right.
we had been away for so long. But I had this backlog of
And that was a
5
long
episodes.
time ago.
That was a long time ago. That was the beginning of December. No, it was the period between Christmas and New Year's.
Does it matter that much?
It does.
For continuity.
Because I'd listened to those episodes to figure out what the titles would be and everything.
Oh.
Because I don't do it as we go. I kind of just refresh my mind and then come up with
Making it up as you go.
Yeah.
Anybody have a map?
And what I found consistently throughout all of those episodes is that we never do a proper intro. We always fuck it up. And
because you're always doing something weird.
I'm not.
You just stuck your finger in my mouth.
That was not my intention. I was trying to boop your snoot, and you opened up your mouth for some reason. So that was both of us.
To bite you, obviously.
It was unobvious. So we're back.
So welcome to the show.
It's a new year.
New
2020 vision. No.
Same us.
Same us. New year. And we actually didn't podcast throughout the entire month of January.
We talked a lot about it.
We talked about podcasting.
We
we
should
said
podcast
this
this.
would be a good podcast.
Yep. As we do routinely in our everyday life.
Yeah, mostly on the long drive.
Yeah, because we get into our intense discussions about comic books.
Yeah, no matter what we start out talking about on the beginning of the drive, about halfway through we always end up on DC and what they've done wrong.
And what Marvel has conversely done right.
Right.
Although DC getting better.
I know, and that's partly
better.
what we're going to talk about.
Right.
With the DCCW's crossover event.
Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Yeah, and it was...
Hashtag.
No, but it was dope. There's a lot to talk about with it.
It's a lot to unpack.
We're going to try to keep this episode, about the same length as all of our...
So between 40 minutes and 2 hours.
Right, as we normally do.
I mean, I will say that in an hour and 4 minutes, I have to go check on the ribs that we have in the oven.
All right, that's fine. So we'll try to use that as a guide. Because you actually have a timer going.
I do have a timer going.
So, where do we want to start with this? There's just a lot to cover.
Right. Well, we did a live stream before Crisis.
Yeah, which was awesome.
Yeah, we talked about, we tried to talk about the different DCCW shows lead in to Crisis, because before hour one of the Crisis event, we knew nothing about what was going to happen. We knew that the Monitor was there and was maybe a good guy and maybe not. Mm-hmm. And we knew the characters that were going to be involved, mostly. Yeah. With some surprises. Yeah,
with all the episodes that led up to Crisis, I think with the exception of maybe The Flash, they didn't talk about the impending crisis.
Yeah.
Even those that knew.
Right.
And instead, what we got was at the end of an episode, it would be the, teaser scene of Nash, Wells.
Yeah, it was the same scene of Nash with, the wall with the symbols on it.
He had, tracked down the Anti-Monitor and found his... all these symbols, and when he activated the symbols in a certain sequence, this door opened up, and this the screen filled with light.
And we saw that 4 different times.
Yeah.
5? 4, because Legends wasn't airing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to, like, dive right into thoughts and feelings, or... I mean, I kind of do.
Yeah,
okay.
That's probably a good place to go.
Okay, so in the lead into Crisis, the one misstep that I thought they took was that they have long established that characters on these shows communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And the event that was going to be Crisis, all we knew was that it was going to be the biggest thing they had ever faced.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for?
For my phone.
Oh, okay. And I thought that at least Team Flash and Team Arrow would have communicated with each other about this impending crisis, because they've established that these characters are friends and have worked together.
Absolutely. Especially Barry and Oliver.
Yeah, like Barry and Oliver are both convinced pre-crisis that they're going to die.
Yeah.
And I thought it might have been nice to have a little communication sound effect. Like, I kind of get why they didn't. I
get why Arrow didn't. I'm surprised Barry didn't, seek more wisdom from
Arrow. Oliver.
He's like, I've got this responsibility. And, that would have also been a good thing, not to, take away from, our thoughts and feelings of the whole thing. But if Barry goes to Oliver about, we saw all these different realities, and the only one that worked was when I died.
Oliver would have flipped shit. Because
Oliver would have... Well, it could have gone 2 ways. Oliver would have given Barry the advice, from a place of, you're a hero, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen, knowing he made a deal with the Monitor.
Right.
In one of the other crossover events.
Yeah, that Barry's not going to die.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually have to worry about it.
And so he's saying it from a place to reassure Barry, but also knowing that he's not going to die. And, he can 100% with confidence be like, you're going to be okay.
Which would have been crazy, because we have been told from the pilot episode of The Flash, there has been this promise of this article that, this is from the future, and all it says is, Flash vanishes in crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, Oliver firmly believing that Barry was going to be fine.
And, the entire show of The Flash, at least once in every season, that crisis newspaper headline is a focal point of the overarching story of the series.
Various parts of it, seeing the byline is Iris West Allen, blows baby Barry's mind, or they're trying to...
in the first episode, it's this Harrison Wells isn't who he says he is, he knows events that are about the future, and it's just there's a lot to take in that one scene in the first episode.
Yeah.
But then they keep fucking with timelines and changing things.
Change and things go back to normal, but Flash vanishing stays pretty constant. Yeah. It's the one thing that seems to be assured no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Which I have some thoughts and feelings about, but we'll get there. So we go into Crisis with the knowledge that we're pretty sure Barry's going to die somehow, and we're also pretty sure Oliver's going to die, because of the deal he made with the Monitor, but also because of the not insignificant fact that this is Arrow's final season. And that would be a beautiful conclusion to Oliver's arc.
Yeah.
I thought, I 100% was convinced that he was going to sacrifice himself so Barry didn't have to die.
Absolutely.
Because that would have been a beautiful ending for Oliver Queen.
Yeah. And their friendship. And
and the mentorship.
And then it also sets up, how Barry himself deals with it going forward.
Yeah, and how, because Arrow has been, the linchpin of this universe.
Yeah.
So you have to assume that Flash, as, the next senior member of this community, is going to become the next focal point. But there wasn't, a clear passing of the torch.
Not between those two.
No.
But,
so, we get into Crisis, and things are happening fast. Yeah. Hour 1 was nuts.
Yeah,
it was
Hour 1
really hard
was
to...
probably the most nuts one.
So much happened. Yeah. Including Oliver's death.
Right at the top.
Right at the top. We didn't see it happen. We're just he's dying. Wait, what?
Yeah.
He was in a random fight that didn't even look that big. They didn't even put that much mustard on it. And all of a sudden, Oliver's dying.
Well, I think the fight looked bigger as it went on. It was how little attention they put on him.
On his
because
moment.
In that series of scenes, all of the heroes that we've met, or at least a good handful of them, maybe it's not all of them yet. They haven't recruited all of them.
I think they have. I think to begin hour one of Crisis, they yank everyone. Lila as the Harbinger goes and gets everyone.
And they're all fighting these, they look like time wraiths, but I don't know.
They look like Dementors.
Yeah, like a cross between the two, and I guess they're minions of the Anti-Monitor or something.
Right.
I'm still unclear as to their function.
And the Anti-Monitor name came out of nowhere. I had never heard that ever until they were like, oh yeah, we have to fight the Anti-Monitor. I'm like, oh, we do? That's the bad guy?
Well, maybe it's just because I started hearing it before Crisis, online.
Okay, but it wasn't mentioned in the shows.
Yeah, I think it was not in anything other than the Crisis event.
Right.
Even before he's on screen, they maybe say it once or twice.
Yeah, because I thought one of the very cool things about the lead into Crisis is that we had no idea what it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would have thought that telling us what it was going to be would have been a slightly bigger deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it wasn't like they were purposefully obfuscating.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't giving us very much. And I mean, maybe it was an assumption that the people who were going to be excited about this were people who were familiar with the story already.
Yeah. Although now that I'm thinking about it. So the Anti-Monitor doesn't really have a presence. He is the big bad in this. The Crisis is really the event. But yeah, we see him a little bit towards the end of the crossover.
Played by the same actor who plays the Monitor.
Yeah. But
apparently.
Now I'm thinking, it's been a long time since I since I read the Crisis on Infinite Earths graphic novel, the series of 12 issues, I think it is. I don't even know if I've read it all. Because I don't actually have the trade paperback of it. It's something that's on my list. But with the Anti-Monitor being such a background, the Monitor was even bigger than the Anti-Monitor in terms of presence and character.
In the show or in the comics?
In the in the show that we watched.
In the CW's presentation.
Yeah. We get a lot of time with the Monitor versus the Anti-Monitor.
Yeah, which is why, the reveal that there is an Anti-Monitor,
I thought it would be
should have
bigger.
been pretty big, yeah.
But I'm wondering if it wasn't, because even with all the shit that's happening, these 5 crossover episodes are way more about the characters versus, the conflict that each of them have individually. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to this in detail, but Kate Kane's part is all character driven.
Yeah.
It's not really about
we're gonna have to talk about that.
The threat of Crisis or anything like that.
It's about developing
they're
her.
each on their own quest to go find something that'll help them stop Crisis or defeat the Anti-Monitor.
Yeah.
But overall, their biggest conflicts and shit that they're dealing with is all their relationship.
Yeah, their internal journey. Yeah.
Oliver's in particular is all him and his family and the city and everything that we know about his character. Mm-hmm. Barry, he knows he's going to vanish in Crisis, but the whole time in the lead up to Crisis, he's worried about the people he's leaving behind.
Yeah, he's not looking for a way out. He's looking to make sure that what's left behind is stable and that everyone he loves survives. Right. Because that's always been important to him.
Exactly.
And to Oliver.
I mean, his whole origin, he couldn't...
Yeah,
I'm going to start crying if I finish that sentence.
I know.
But, Legends of Tomorrow, I'm not super... I watched a lot of it leading up to this event. But because their last... the last episode of the crossover was kicking off their season.
Right.
I'd imagine, with Sarah, now that Oliver's gone...
Yeah.
And she's lost her team over a bunch of different seasons, parts of her team... it's all about how she has to cope with being the leader of this group. And, sure, they can toss out jokes and rewrite history and all that like Legends does, but I think it's really just about her, living in a world without Oliver and like somebody that
getting a little bit ahead of ourselves.
I know, but
so yeah, your point is that it was about character journey more than it was about the big bad.
The event itself.
Yeah, but they put a lot of mustard on the event.
I mean, the event is big in terms of what is happening.
Yeah.
Like the result, I should say.
The plot was a little muddy for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, it was spectacular. It was what it promised to be.
Well, yeah, even the first episode with, like, the crazy death of Oliver, the first episode was like, holy shit, crisis has happened.
There were, like, 5,000 cameos in the first hour.
Yeah, and we'll get to the cameos later on, but...
Because they meant way more to you than they did to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I don't know if I've made this clear, but I am not a DC fan, historically.
Historically. That might be changing.
It's shifting. I will say it's shifting.
And not in terms of, like, who's the bigger thing, Marvel or DC, but like
just in terms of being able to actually enjoy the characters and the stories, which is nice, because it means that DC is developing content that is interesting to more than just people who love the comics.
Right, like realizing there is another audience and you can cater to both of them.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I get your point about the character development, but I mean, like, I don't want to compare it to Marvel, and I also am not saying that they should have done an Infinity War-like focus on the villain.
Yeah.
But a little more.
Like, I definitely think a little more.
The threat would have felt a little more real.
Right.
If we had gotten to know it in any way.
Yeah, because it kind of, like, shifts back and forth between, like, crisis is the thing.
Yeah.
And, like, the Anti-Monitor caused the crisis, but...
Right.
Which one... what are we, like, it was very unclear.
And there was also a lot of conflict in the lead-in as to whether or not we could trust the Monitor.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we're just like, oh, okay, I guess he's fine. It's the Anti-Monitor that's the one that we have to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot to juggle, even for having 5 episodes to theoretically focus on the 5 characters. I mean, they didn't do that.
No.
Like, they were focusing on everyone all the time. Yeah, I think the first 3 hours moved a lot faster than the latter 2.
Yeah.
The latter 2 were much easier to watch.
And we watched them back to back.
The last 2?
The last 2,
yeah. Yeah, the first 3 were spread out over 3
nights.
Days. Yeah.
And then there was a huge the winter break, and then like mid-January we got 4 and 5.
Yeah. Yeah. So like okay, so what was notable about hour 1 for you?
Like, just across the board?
Anything, yeah. I also don't remember what specifically happened in which hour, so this is going to get a little messy, but if anything stood out in the first hour.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So with these crossovers, they do a very good job at blending them together.
Yeah, so I kept forgetting which show we were watching.
And, like, I'm wondering what would be more effective. Blending them like they do, or because the shows, as much as they do feel like they're in the same universe, the way the teams, like, their dynamics are, and just the atmosphere of the shows.
The orbits are just, like, a little
slightly
bit
different. Right. Yeah. Whereas, like, we have Dark Oliver Queen, and then we have light and fun Barry, who's also dramatic, but then on Kara's show, she's, like, bubbly and...
Yeah, and then we have Legends, which is off the rails.
It's so off the rails. And then we have Batwoman.
We have Kate Kane, who doesn't know what she is yet.
But. Exactly. But, like, they all just feel different. I don't know, in terms of the crossover, if there's a way to make them each fit the tone of the show that they're supposed to fit in with, or if blending them is the better idea.
And, like, one of the main problems that I had with Crisis is something that I am always going to have with any crossover ever, is that a huge part of what I love about these shows is the team.
Yeah.
And because of just the magnitude of how many things you're trying to combine, you can't give equal focus to the side characters of every show.
Right.
I thought it was bullshit that we saw Cisco for like a minute and a half.
I know.
I was so ticked because he would have been frontline.
That's kind of what I mean because if you're focusing on just like the tone of the show for that hour, like Cisco would be way more involved in the Flash episode because that's his hour.
And if there was, so like if each hour was presented as like each team having a piece of the puzzle to solve, so each show could get its, its just desserts. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Oliver got what he deserved in Crisis in terms of his show, not in terms of himself. Okay. I would say Kate Kane, done. Check. She was played beautifully, which we will talk about in a minute. She got a fully contained story that helped her move forward. She might be the only one
that got
like that I thought was treated well completely in the crossover.
I mean,
got like a fully formed story of her own.
You don't think Oliver did?
No.
I think his death in hour 1
His death in hour 1 was ridiculous.
But by hour 3, 4, and 5, I liked where they had taken his story.
I liked where it ended. I didn't necessarily like how it got there.
I admit it got there quickly.
Like having him die and then them bringing him back and then it like
I do think that was unnecessary.
Yeah.
But because he stayed dead.
Sort of.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I think his death at the end would have been more impactful had he not died in the first hour and then just left us confused.
I just think they should have focused on his death and it, like either his death happens in hour 2 instead, or we were like, is he?
Yeah, like is this really it?
Because when those time wraiths or whatever are like swarming him and he's shooting his arrows and then he gets down, he doesn't have any arrows.
He like lays down his bow.
There's this moment where it becomes slow motion and he drops his bow and just makes a run at them. And I think that would have been better if we were allowed time to see the build up to him like doing everything he can against these as just this one man army at that point for whatever reason I can't remember.
Right.
And then being like he has no other choice. He throws down the bow and then
he never needs the bow.
And then you could even like have, I don't know, at that time I can't remember what anyone else was doing.
Right.
But you could have Barry off doing something and then run to meet Oliver. But Oliver is already in like his run into sacrificing himself and Barry not being fast enough to save even Oliver.
And
then when it comes back at the end, it like completes that in a way. I don't know. It just would have. Yeah,
Oliver's death at the end was good.
Yeah.
He laid down his life to save the world. The world.
Yeah. The universe.
Yeah. I don't think we've talked about. We sort of very purposefully didn't talk about the last 2 hours so we could do it on this podcast.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago. So my only issue with the moment of Oliver's death was he had spent so much time talking about how he was doing it so that Barry and Kara could live because they were the best of what the world had to offer.
Yeah.
And then when he finally falls, it's Barry and Sarah who are there.
I do agree.
And
it shouldn't have been.
Character, like narrative level, Sarah makes sense because she's from his past, but
yeah, Barry on one side, Kara
on the other, and Oliver laying down literally in the middle of them. Like,
I agree. Way better.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know a couple of my other issues you have differing viewpoints on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and should we talk about that?
We can. But yeah, I mean, I guess for Sarah, like you said, narratively, like her relationship with Oliver was very present in Arrow, but also because we have the last hour of Crisis be the Legends of Tomorrow,
right? Having
her season for her shows start off with that. I don't know. Like, it makes sense, but I do agree. Kara and Barry.
Yeah, because, I mean, Oliver had said on multiple occasions that they were just the best and brightest of what humanity has to offer.
And plus, he doesn't have, like, a relationship with Kit Kane. So
right.
she shouldn't be there.
No. I mean, I would love for her to be there, but
I would
there was no reason.
Like, I feel bad for you, Oliver, but I just met you like a week ago.
Right. Yeah. I would have loved to see Kate and Oliver interact more, because she, I think, is like coming in to fill the void of that like dark and broody character.
Especially based on her, not even just her scene that we'll talk about later, but
her interaction with him.
With Oliver.
Yeah, the quick one.
Yeah, in like the dreamy version of
going to find him.
Ray Palmer Technologies.
Something. Yeah, she saw him like admitting to having feelings or something, and she was like, "Oh, I should do that."
I
mean,
think
like, it was better than
it was. I'm pretty sure it was about like trusting people. So having feelings for others.
Right, like, having people that you trust and care about and letting them know you.
Yeah.
And she was like,
instead of being as guarded as we know Batman is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that journey for her.
Yeah. So, what other issues did you have that I differed from? We'll talk about that.
So, like, the biggest one was Flash vanishing in Crisis. Mm-hmm. So, do you want to explain?
You can explain it. I'll talk forever about it.
Okay, great. So, I don't know how to introduce it, though, because we have the other Barry Allen.
So, in one of the other crossovers, and one of the times Barry fucks up.
You need to be more specific.
Right.
Barry fucks this time. Things go badly.
The season 3 fuck up.
Versus the season 4 fuck up. Versus 4.5.
Yeah. No.
He fucks up all the time, and I love him for it.
So
stupid.
At some point we met Jay Garrick of Earth 2. And not the fake Jay Garrick that was actually Zoom. We met John Wesley Shipp is the actor's name, but he also plays Barry's dad. Which is
it's significant that it's that actor, because he was the Flash on the TV show in the 90s.
In the
90s. Nailed it.
So eventually when timelines are shifted and stories are made up again, John Wesley Shipp is no longer Jay Garrick or even Barry's dad, but he plays Barry Allen, the
on
Flash.
Another Earth.
On Earth 90, I want to say it is.
That's
because
right.
Of the fact that like that's what they did for all of the ones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's cute. There's a lot of like, it's so clear that the people who created like these shows individually and this crossover together, they deeply love the source material, and there are Easter eggs all over the place for people that can
even
find them.
In the Aftermath show, hosted by Kevin Smith.
What?
I almost did that.
Here for you.
Yeah. As some of the creators or writers are talking about it, you can just see how much they enjoyed doing it.
And I love that.
Yeah.
It's so much more fun to watch things made by people that really, really love it.
Yeah.
It shows.
Yeah.
And I mean cast as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we have Earth 90, Barry Allen comes to help with the crisis. Right.
So there's some like I'm not going to do this justice. There's like some elaborate setup where
justice later.
There has to be a Flash on this magic treadmill or the world's going to explode.
It is pretty much like a magic treadmill. And if you go below 50 miles per hour, it'll blow up. But
right, so there has to be a Flash on the treadmill, but if Flash like runs as fast as he would have to keep the world... No, he has to run faster than 50 because it has to generate some power surge
Before to
destroy something.
It wasn't actually 50 miles per hour.
That seems really slow.
That's a reference to the movie Speed, in which the bus cannot go under 50 miles per hour.
I did not get that.
I saw it as you were saying it out loud.
That seems
really slow for a speedster.
For the Flash. 50 miles an hour, that was the magic speed.
But you were on board with it. I was ready to keep going with it.
Caught that.
But no.
So anyway, the speed that he has to go to generate this like surge of power to destroy whatever.
There's I think it's like the evil machine that's causing the crisis or something like that.
So if Flash reaches the speed necessary to destroy the machine, he will like disintegrate. Basically, it will destroy his cells and he'll die. So this is the end of hour 3. Not the end. It was like 45 minutes-ish.
It was something
like
close. That. Yeah.
Because I was like fully set that like Barry is gonna die at the end of hour 3, and then we're gonna have this long break where we think he's dead, and then of course he will come back dramatically because they're not canceling that show yet.
It would have been good.
It would have been good.
Yeah.
It would have been really good. But that is not what happened.
No.
So the reason we were sure to mention John Wesley's ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, nailed it. And the fact that he is also Barry Allen and the Flash is that he's the one that jumped back into the treadmill.
Yeah.
And took Barry's place.
Yeah.
Which, okay, so you as a DC fan and as someone who is aware of the history there, that meant a lot to you because the show in the 90s did not get a proper resolution for that Barry Allen, for that Flash.
Right.
So in that sense, that moment was cathartic and was lovely.
And they even show a clip from the old show
I
to
forgot they did that.
tie off his story
Yeah.
that he didn't get to when they actually did the show.
So, yeah, that is a lovely moment for that character that means almost nothing to me. So,
and I understand that.
The promise that the Flash had been making since the pilot is that Flash vanishes in Crisis. It's like, oh, we didn't say which Flash. That is a cheap fucking move, and I'm mad about it.
But they've done that before.
Right, but this is bigger.
No.
Like, they've threatened to kill him a bunch of times.
No,
and he's
what I'm
sort of
saying
died
is,
and come back.
like, while I admit there are better ways to do it, I still think, like, even when fucking Draco Malfoy is on the show, and he's being telepathically manipulated by Savitar.
Alchemy.
Well,
no, he is Alchemy. Manipulated by Savitar. Right.
Alchemy, who is manipulated by Savitar.
Right.
He keeps saying, I am the future Flash. And we think he is the future, Flash, but he's the future Flash is what he was actually saying.
Right.
So we find out that Savitar is Barry Allen, but from the future.
Right.
That has gone and fucking
died.
Right.
Right.
So I get their idea of sort of like going back to something like that, where all we know is that the Flash dies in Crisis, or the Flash vanishes in Crisis.
Right.
But
we know
there are multiple Earths, infinite Earths of Flashes, so I understand why he would jump in the last second. I do think Barry dying and then that break, that would have been good great TV. Dramatic. Yeah. Like, I would have eaten that shit up.
I would have been screaming, crying. Like, it's even though they told us the whole like beginning part of the Flash season that this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And to have it be like a bait and switch like that, I thought severely undercut what could have been a really intensely dramatic moment.
Yeah.
For like the arc of Crisis.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It did not do it for me.
I know. You had problems with Crisis as a whole.
I did, but that was probably my biggest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong.
Like,
For the whole audience that has been watching just these shows.
Right. Not
what you've described, I would have loved to see. But I get why they did it this way, and I'm not mad about it. But, you know, if it's hard because we can't actually compare the two because one of them doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, like, for an audience with people like you who are aware of the history and for creators who are intensely aware of the history, I'm sure that was, you know, an intense, impactful, emotional moment, but it seemed to be in service of a different character than the one that we had connected with.
Yeah.
I had connected with.
But I wonder, too, if they just didn't want to take, because nobody else really dies, they didn't want to take away from Oliver's death.
Well, they fucked that up, too. They shouldn't have killed him in hour 1. I'm going to say it. I'm going to stick with it.
I agree with that.
Okay, great.
I said, like, hour 2, probably. Because then it's like, oh my god, we don't have Oliver, we don't have the Flash, and even though, like, we would get the Flash almost immediately and then after we return from the break,
right,
it would be like a preview of, like, what happens when Barry's gone.
Yeah.
And how do these new heroes, How do they deal with
how do they deal with it? And how
but
do
then
they
he
deal
would
with
come back and it
getting
would be
him
fine.
back?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been nuts.
I mean, yeah.
It would have been really, really cool. Yeah, so before we get to how Hour 3 ended, let's talk about Kate Kane.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, we have to do it together.
I'm not just going to do it.
I talked about Barry.
I know, that's fair.
I loved Kate Kane. Like, in a shocking turn of events, my favorite part of Crisis was the Batman part.
And not just, like, the Kate Kane Batwoman, but
like the
Batman.
interaction with Batman and what that did for her character and for her, like, development and her growth and her interaction with the other characters.
Yeah.
Like,
so, I guess since we've talked about the 90s Flash, this whole crossover was, like, infused and drenched in cameos.
I do not like the word drenched.
It was disgustingly moist. With
doesn't
cameos.
bother me.
It's real juicy.
Stop it. I'm gonna leave.
But yeah, so like in Hour 1, when Crisis is happening, we get a glimpse of all the other Earths that exist in the multiverse.
Right.
And
we have to see them all be destroyed.
Yeah, like that's the takeaway, is just that everything is dying.
Everything you love is dead.
And they do a real cool thing with like every Earth that we jump to, like Earth 89 or Earth 66, the number of that Earth represents almost like the year in which that show
that
or
world
movie
was created.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we get to see a glimpse of Michael Keaton's 89 Batman with one of the actors that was in that movie to cameo as his role. Then we see like Burt Ward from the 66 Batman, who was Robin.
And Matt is like every 30 seconds just shitting his pants.
Because they got so many. Like I said, it's
so many.
drenched
Stop it.
in cameos.
It was rough.
It was so
hard to sit next to.
It was so much for my brain to handle. And we even got to see like the Birds of Prey 2003 show that nobody watched and failed. But
let's talk about the 2020 Birds of Prey movie at a later date.
Yeah, that'll be the next episode.
Yeah.
But we get to see all these different cameos, and like at the same time, we get to see them die immediately.
Destroyed.
For like the one thing I think that the DC movies are known for, it's that their ability to connect their universes has always been shit. They've never been able, like even the newest universe that they were creating with Ben Affleck's Batman and so forth. Yeah, they replaced everyone, and they're going off with weird sequels and such. So we finally get to see them share a universe, and immediately
fucking CW.
Yeah, that's the biggest surprise. But at the same time, like the CW has like pretty consistently blown my mind.
They've been
with the
nailing
shit that they've done.
these DC shows.
Yeah.
I never thought I was gonna care about any DC characters ever.
Yeah. Which when Batwoman became a thing, like it became, you know, Batman but through a different prism or a different audience in a sense.
Yeah.
And it works.
You make her a little gay girl, and I am in.
Like vocally.
Yeah.
She runs a you know, what is it? It's like a
gay
firm?
real estate.
Oh, real estate. That's right. It's a gay real estate.
Because she's Kate Kane, and everything she touches is gay.
Yeah. And it's right across from like the restaurant that kicked her out for being gay.
Right, and she hangs a rainbow flag in the window.
Like real prominently.
Like butch and non-traditionally feminine. And
just everything that they've shown us about her
much.
character has been great.
Yeah.
And then when you get to Crisis, her whole part, they go and see Batman of a different Earth. And that Batman is played by Kevin Conroy,
which is very emotional for you and a lot of people.
So much.
Not me.
Because he did the voice of Batman on the animated series in the 90s, and has voiced Batman in a lot of, like, almost everything from the 90s till recently.
And it seems to be a role that he loves.
Yeah.
And he enjoys reprising and being a part of. And
so he finally gets to be like a live action version of Batman.
And like an old, decrepit
Bruce Wayne.
And like, so on Batwoman the show, we haven't met Batman yet. Kate is like writing voiceover-y letters to him.
Yeah.
Like journal entries, basically. So we know very little about Bruce Wayne, and we like, you and I figured that Batman was going to have to come into this somehow. because how can you line up all of these other giants and not even mention Batman?
Right, especially with Superman being prominent on the show.
And Superman's great.
And all the emphasis, he is really great.
Yeah.
I'll fight anyone that says he's not, like, one of the best Supermen.
Are people saying that?
Yeah.
Of course they
like,
are.
Like, constantly online. They shit on his version specifically. I know.
I wish you could see my face and the journey I'm going on.
Yeah, this is an audio podcast. You can do an ASMR of your facial expressions.
He's great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But
anyway.
And
with all the emphasis they were putting on Batwoman, that Batman's been gone for 3 years,
right?
It made sense not to give him, like, an entire hour,
right?
But to have him come in and, like, even, like, just, like, hand them the answer to what they need to do.
Yeah, like, we figured he was going to show up because it would be good for Crisis, but I didn't want that story to take away from Kate Kane's story yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that on the show they will bring Bruce Wayne in at some point, but I
think that's why, like...
Yeah, but they had to do it a little bit in Crisis.
Yeah.
And what they did, which was brilliant, they had to go to a different Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And they met that Earth's Batman.
Yeah.
Which is perfect, because it scratches that itch for this story, but it doesn't complicate Kate's individual story yet.
And we get to see Batman, so because he's old Batman, he doesn't, I don't think he puts that suit on anymore, but we see him in this, like, titanium mech suit type thing, because I think his spine is broken and he can't actually walk, because of what we find out is an altercation he has with Superman.
Right.
And, like, as Kate Kane... Because, like, for Kate Kane, it's a version of her cousin.
Right.
Which she was, like, close to.
She also, this is important, she goes there with Supergirl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that they can find, I can't remember what they're trying to find.
I don't know, some indication that, they're trying to find the Paragon of Courage.
So one of the things throughout the Crisis is we have to find 7 Horcruxes in order to stop this from happening. Yeah. And, like, there's already so much other shit going on. We now have another quest
we gotta go, we have to go find the Deathly Hallows.
But the paragons of hope, courage, love, honesty, humanity, and... Oh, wait, there's 7. Smartness.
Of good brains.
Of good brains and luck.
Do I need to look this up?
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to do
the vamp for a little bit.
But these 7 Horcruxes are going to allow them to stop Crisis from happening. And what we've found out is that each one of our heroes represents that paragon of whatever.
Plus something we have to go create.
Yeah. So they go to Earth. I'm not even sure what Earth it is. To see old Bruce Wayne, who is bitter. Hopefully for the Paragon of Courage, which I don't know if I said.
I think I said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were going to look for the Paragon of Courage, who they believed
was Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bat something.
Yeah. So when they get there, we find out that Bruce Wayne is crazy at this point. He has a trophy case of all of, like, the heroes and villains he's murdered, which is, like, super cool because that's a Batman we have never seen before.
Yeah.
Batman, like, off the deep end. And, like, we get a taste of that sort of in Batman v Superman. Where...
Hold, please. Paragons of Courage, Paragon of Hope, Paragon of Destiny.
Destiny, that was Sarah.
Truth.
Justice.
This says we have 3 paragons yet to be revealed. God damn
it. I think we got them all now, though. Destiny, hope, truth, justice,
love,
humanity, love, and courage. That's it.
Good, nailed it. Okay, great. Yeah, so we think they think Batman is going to be the Paragon of Courage.
Yeah, and I believe Kate Kane is the one to suggest this because she knows Bruce Wayne and his taking on the role of Batman and everything.
Right.
Like, it's got to be him. Like, that's kind of what she goes into it thinking.
So they get there and they see the trophy case, and Kara is with her.
There are a pair of glasses or something in the case.
Clark Kent's glasses. And
Kara,
that is Kara's first indication that all is not well in Whoville.
Yeah, that this guy
This is
murdered
possibly not what we're looking for. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that till just now.
Yeah.
They're both the cousins of the heroes that...
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Of Superman and Batman. That is why they're besties.
Oh, I love them so much. Yeah. So, Kate is emotional at being reunited with Bruce, who has been missing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's, like, talking to him while Kara is, like, x-ray visioning things, finding out, like, what's there and what's in store. What happens next? I don't know.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's just that they have this conversation about, or Kate and Bruce Wayne have this conversation about, like, you know, Clark Kent, Superman being too powerful.
Yeah, I mean, like, you trust her, referring to Kara.
Yeah, and he, being Batman and he's prepared for everything, he has some kryptonite within his mech suit that he's wearing, like on his person, just in case. And I can't remember if he is going to use it on her or offers it to Kate.
I think he gives it to Kate because she has it.
Yeah.
Because that becomes important later.
Yeah.
A bit later. But. And, like, Kate is, like, slowly coming to the realization that this man cannot be the paragon of courage. This cannot be who she has been seeking to emulate, whose footsteps she's been attempting to follow in.
Right.
Like, which is just a huge moment for her, because Kate Kane, on her own, like, you and I have talked about this a lot, how we don't really know why she's wearing the suit yet.
Yeah.
And, I mean, at this point, it seems that she doesn't know anymore either, because if she's not emulating Bruce, then what the fuck is she doing? And she doesn't want to be this guy, because he doesn't trust anyone.
Yeah, she was seeing a lot of her personality in him.
Yeah.
And, like, even if it is a crazier version of her cousin, she thinks that, like, give it enough time, and this is what will happen.
She recognized a lot of her own tendencies.
Yeah.
And that was scary. And then she leaves with the kryptonite and with Kara.
She kills them.
She does kill them.
Yeah.
That's right.
Electrocutes them.
Oh, yeah, because he threatens Kara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the attack or whatever.
Right. Yeah, and she's like, bye.
Yeah. And, like, there is a bit of a point where Kate Kane is not sure about Kara, because he did make a good point about her being too powerful.
People having too much power and not having to answer to anyone. You know, if they don't like what you say, they can just do it anyway. Like, and Kate holding on to the kryptonite thing, which maybe she took off his dead body.
I feel like she did, but...
her hanging on to it was a very cool moment that you and I both agreed it was a very Batman thing.
Yeah.
But then...
to be safe and cautious.
Yeah, to save it just in case.
Yeah.
But shortly thereafter, she makes her own decision. She reveals to Kara that she kept it.
Yeah.
And then destroys it. Right?
No.
She's
like kind of like, I am sorry, like, that I have this. I took it, and, you know, I know I don't need it, because, like, I can trust you. And she offers to destroy it. But then Kara is like, no, you should keep that. And there's this moment of, like, you know, because anything can happen, she could get possessed by some other
like the Red
thing.
Sun or something.
Exactly. So Kara also trusts Kate
to have that.
To have it.
Check. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, like, a real bonding moment for those two characters. And
like, it's so good for both characters, and I can't wait for them to team up.
Yeah. I want to see, even in the other crossover where Batwoman was introduced, their little scene together was like, we should do this again sometime. Like, world's finest. And
then, like, later, I think it's in, like, hour 4 or 5 or something, Kate shows up and Kara's like, Kate's here.
Yeah.
She is. They're paired up, like, the whole time in Crisis.
I know.
Which, I liked and I didn't, because it sort of felt like they were segregated, but they did a lot of good development for their character.
Right.
And, yeah. So the way Hour 3 ends, after the disappointment with the Flash, is that all of the Earths get destroyed.
Yeah.
Our Paragons end up zapped into...
Oh, we forgot just to mention that Brendan Routh also got to play...
Oh, fuck, that's right.
got to play a different Earth Superman. So we had two Supermen, but Brendan Routh had also played Superman in 2006, I want to say. And it's that same Superman that we get to see, so it's like a continuation of that story.
Side note, Tyler Hoechlin, however you say his last name, I just want to quickly, his Superman is lovely. It's just like one of the best iterations of the character that, I mean, one of the best ones that I have responded to.
Really?
He's just like, he's sweet and he's friendly and he's not like...
What other ones have you seen? Like, I know we watched...
I saw the Brendan Routh one.
Yeah.
I've seen Henry Cavill do it, and like Superman has just always felt very unapproachable, untouchable, because he's so perfect.
Yeah.
And like austere almost. And I don't know, there's just something about that Superman that he just like...
He is delightful. I do think he is
sweet,
one of my
very
favorites
gentle,
as well. And I like Henry Cavill too, but the Cavill version is very much like what the comics are now. Like, if I see Henry Cavill in glasses, I don't think like he's mild-mannered, meek. Like, he's still cut like from stone.
He's still just an insane specimen of humanity.
Right. You know? I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, the Tyler Hoechlin Superman. Even like I watched a few episodes of Supergirl, and I saw some of the ones that he was in, and just like no ego, very willing to like step aside and let Kara do the saving and take the credit, and like he just, he wants to help people.
Very delightful.
Clark Kent from Kansas or
and that's
wherever.
The thing, when he's wearing the glasses, he feels like a real person.
Yeah.
And that's like the point.
Yeah. Yeah, just a very down to earth Superman.
And every time I see his version of Superman, it does make me interested in the character for that little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
But we don't see him much in credits because Brandon Routh replaced him.
Yeah, and we also have Kara.
Oh, also Black Lightning shows up.
Yeah, Black Lightning is another... I don't even know what network it's on.
Yeah, we should watch that show.
Actually, it might be the CW.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we saw ads for it.
Right.
Pre-crisis.
But we have all the Paragons together. The Brendan Routh Superman is... Hope? Yeah, Hope.
No, Kara's Hope.
Trust?
And Pixie Dust?
I don't know, he's one of them.
I don't know, he's one of the Paragons, it's fine. But then,
like, so after fucking all the Earth
after fucking every single Earth.
All the Paragons are on the Wave Rider, which is the ship in Legends of Tomorrow, and then they get sent to the Vanishing Point.
Right, that's what it's called.
All the Paragons, like a safe spot in no place in time or in the universe that they can be. And we have all the 7 Paragons because they're the ones that can save the multiverse.
Right.
And then at the close to the last moment, Brendan Routh's Superman explodes essentially
right.
with light and shit, and Lex Luthor is standing in his place, and he's like, "Huh, I didn't think that would work."
Because he had ripped a page from the Book of Destiny and changed the future.
And changed, the reality so that
he was the paragon of whatever.
Yeah.
Which is, so that's where Hour 3 ended, and then we had a month to sit in it.
Yeah. I do think that was an interesting way to end that first part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was frustrated.
I know. I do think the second half, though, is way better.
The second half was great. The second half felt more like one single movie than 2 different hours, because they did show back to back. The pacing was much easier to be involved with.
It didn't seem as fast.
Which makes sense, because to do 2 hours back to back, it would have been a lot to have to focus on instead of having it in manageable chunks.
Right.
Yeah, so what even happened?
I don't remember a ton of it. I think hour 4, though, is the episode where... So, Oliver Queen comes back as the Spectre.
Right.
And...
A Spectre.
I thought he was the Spectre.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Is a Spectre, not to be confused with Millie. Very niche joke for only you, really.
Right. Yeah, my mom doesn't listen to this.
And,
my grandma.
Right. Context, I guess. And I'm pretty sure Barry wants to carry everyone through the Speed Force.
Right. Yeah, that's where Kate sees Oliver.
Yeah, and something happens that they all get blasted to different, pockets of the Speed Force.
Right, and he has to, collect them or something.
Yeah.
And then they all end up on, that place.
The anti-monitors.
Yeah, his anti-whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, though, that... Yeah, it has been a while since we watched it. Which is funny, because Arrow's episode is up on Netflix.
But just Arrows.
Just Arrows, because all the other shows are still running.
Right.
Something happens where Barry Allen is in a version of Star Labs, and we see Ezra Miller's version of the Flash.
Yeah.
And they have this whole scene together where they're not sure who's real or whatever.
What are you wearing?
Yeah, and it was one of the moments I had no idea was coming.
Yeah.
It was another wonderful cameo.
Another scream moment.
Yeah, I shat myself.
Poop in the pants. We have to get a new couch.
Right. And
Matt's side is disgusting.
It absolutely is.
Soiled it.
And so all the people that got blasted off into different pockets of the Speed Force have to find their way back using Oliver's Spectre as a guide.
To guide them to where they need to be.
And then, then they end up on the anti-monitor
the place where, I don't know, where the...
Oh, the monitor went back to the beginning of the universe.
Yes.
And fucked it up.
Right, and created
the anti-monitor universe.
Right.
And the anti-monitor. So they had to go back to that point
to stop it. Right. And that's our shot of all of our heroes lined up together.
Yeah. Fighting.
The money shot.
Back to back.
The Avengers assemble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is great. And then it seems like they have stopped the enemy.
Yeah.
But it's still happening. Mm-hmm. The thing that they're supposed to stop. And Oliver realizes that he has to go and stop it.
Yeah, he has to be the one to fight the anti-monitor.
And to lay down his life so that the universes can come back.
Yeah. Which
he does.
Yeah.
And it's lovely.
It is.
Yeah, the Paragons have to do something while they have to think really hard about something. I don't know.
I think they... essentially, that's what happens, though. They all, hold hands and, the power of love will defeat you.
Right. It's exactly that cheesy.
But I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, they very much could not go and help Oliver, or go and save Oliver, because the point was that he had to be the one to do that. I guess that was the deal.
The Paragons gave him the power.
Yeah.
To
the
make
power
his
of love.
sacrifice. The power of love.
The power of love.
It is.
It's a curious thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and as Oliver is fighting the anti-monitor, he says the wonderful line, "You have failed this universe." Which is perfect. That is exactly how Oliver Queen should go out. Mm-hmm. Much better than his hour one. Oh, I guess I'm dead. Yeah. The fact that he didn't say it there, was okay, this cannot be right. This is not. Oliver Queen deserves more. Right. And he got it, and then he fell and wasn't quite dead yet, and Barry and Sarah rushed to be with him while he died. And giving them the words they need to carry on. Yeah.
And so apparently we find out in hour 5 and throughout, like, the, like, beginning parts of the next phase of all of this on the different shows, so Oliver's sacrifice, not all of the Earths came back, and they did not come back the same.
Yeah, including Earth Prime, the Earth that we're on.
Yeah, so hour 5 is defining sort of the boundaries of New Earth Prime, because they still don't really explain what happened, and they don't actually fully tell us until the final episode of Arrow. Yeah. Where we find out that, like, Oliver's, like, intentions mattered when bringing these Earths back. Yeah. Are you gonna cry?
I might.
Okay. I'm also gonna have to check the ribs in 7 minutes.
Okay. So you know. That's fine.
We're not gonna wrap it up.
No.
We're gonna have to keep going, but
for at least like 20 more minutes.
You might just have to either pause or vamp.
I'll pause, probably.
Okay, great.
I'm not talking to no one.
You're not talking to no one.
What were we talking about?
Oliver
making a sacrifice, bringing back all the other Earths.
Right.
He falls.
Yeah.
Sarah and Barry are there.
We cry. We move on.
Well, then in the next... hour 5 is what we're talking about. Alright, so the Earth came back, but not in the same way as it did before. So we see the Flash running around Star City,
chasing a villain who he has not dealt with before, but is responding to him as though she knows him.
They have like this history together.
And he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And when I'm pretty sure he's the one that saves things. Yeah. Because then he gets his picture taken with somebody.
Right.
Kara shows up.
Yeah. And they're like, wait.
She's like, what are you doing on Earth 3? Or
on my Earth.
On 33. And she's like, what? No. What are you doing on Earth 1?
Because those two shows had previously, the characters had existed on separate Earths, but apparently they don't anymore.
Yeah. So you have Earth Prime, and then you have all the multiverse spreading out into infinity. And then the Crisis destroys them all, going inward to Earth 1, which is the last to be destroyed. When Oliver created the universe again, he created Earth Prime, and then as they were pulling apart and making so many other Earths, shit got jumbled up in there.
Right. Which got jumbled up in there.
So things from Earth 33 have now implanted themselves onto Earth Prime.
The upshot of this is that not only do Barry and Kara exist on the same Earth now, but according to everybody else except the people who were part of Crisis, they have always existed on the same Earth.
Because
history has been rewritten.
When the Earths were recreated, so was their histories. With all these alterations and alternate histories.
Yeah, so what this means going forward is that the timelines are different. Mm-hmm. So anything that happens moving forward, like, its continuity is really no longer a factor. Yeah. Which we have seen in comic books over the years. They will reboot the timeline.
And it was exactly why Crisis was started in the back in the day. It was to reset the universe so that they can tell new and
we haven't
stories.
Really seen that in the TV show.
No.
So we're sort of in new territory. Where
they didn't even do that in Endgame.
Right.
Like, spoilers.
Yeah.
But, like, when they bring the Earth back, it's...
Yeah, everybody remembers.
Everyone remembers. Everything's the
everything
same.
Still happened.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So this is going to be interesting to see moving forward what the changes were and how that has affected.
We've already seen some of that.
Yeah.
So aside from like the Crisis event in the Flash's newer episode, like Jitters reopens and is immediately robbed. Right. And the guy that robs it has robbed it in 2 other timelines. I saw somebody posted a photo of him from all 3 different seasons, and it's every time the things get reset, that shit happens.
Interesting.
So now their personal histories, like you said, with the villain not recognizing.
Them not recognizing the
Yeah,
villain. Yeah. So yeah, the people who were a part of Crisis remember
how
the
things
linear
were.
timeline, I guess. And the ones that weren't Paragons, that weren't directly involved, Martian Manhunter, like, you know, went back to each of them
and
so that they could
implanted
remember everything,
those memories back in their head.
which is useful for character development.
Yeah.
So the universe can be different, but the people that we know are still basically the same.
Right. It does beg the question, how much of the current history do they know? Because there are many different things. This is like the problem with time travel and whatnot, but we won't get into that.
So many problems with time travel.
But one of the biggest things, apart from Kara and Barry now being on the same Earth,
right?
And we see Cisco like drawing out the new Earth that's been created and trying to figure out where cities are.
Right.
But on Batwoman,
Kate
Kane's
her
presumed dead sister, Beth, who we were told like became crazy and became Atlas.
Right.
She was from one of these extra Earths.
Yeah, in a different Earth with a different Kate, and like events shook out differently.
Yeah.
And so she ends up on Earth Prime in Gotham with Kate, who does not respond well initially.
Thinks it's Alice trying to pretend to be her sister,
right?
Instead of like crazy Alice that we've seen, and we're told in like minute 1 that it was her sister.
Right.
It is. It's just the sister of that Earth, and then I'm pretty sure the episode that comes back, they almost can't coexist in the same reality.
But also, just like along the note that Oliver was responsible for much of this, Oliver totally would have given Kate back her sister.
Yeah.
Family has always been incredibly important to Oliver.
Yeah.
And giving, I mean, in his, on Earth Prime, his mother got to live.
Yeah.
Like, all of the changes are very personal for Oliver.
Including Lila and Dig get Sarah back.
Yeah.
Okay. And the fact that... And so baby Sarah was erased from the timeline because of one of Barry Allen's fuck-ups. Yeah, the biggest fuck-up of Barry's. Flashpoint.
Yeah, I guess it is his biggest fuck-up to date.
Yeah, he brought his parents back for selfish reasons.
His mom.
But his mom. All right. They were together, I guess.
His family was together because he's a selfish whore.
And then he went to fix it, and then he kept fucking it up. So yeah. And that was something also online, like, justice for baby Sarah. And shit like that, because when he rewrites the timeline, they now have a son instead.
Baby John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Connor is the one that's actually that Tiger Villain's kid that they adopt. The guy that had like the claws that that Oliver teamed up with in prison.
I'm 0% invested. So.
Anyways.
In Oliver's children and Barry's. Nope. You know what? It doesn't matter. Go on.
So now Dig has Sarah and John.
Right. 2 babies.
Yeah, and the whole thing, like we were saying, it's Oliver having so much wanting, like, family is the most important thing to Oliver.
Yeah.
His mom is back now.
Which is crazy.
Absolutely
like,
crazy.
That was lovely.
But like, couldn't bring back his dad, because it would have
changed his entire life.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have given him something to, like, strive for.
Right. He would have failed the city.
Yeah.
Continued failing the city.
And the one thing that, like, he even brings back Detective Lance. Which was wonderful because I missed him.
Yeah.
But did not bring back the original Laurel Lance.
Right.
Instead we have, I don't even remember what her other name was on Earth 2, but Laurel Lance's doppelganger.
Right. I think his name was Laurel.
I meant like the character that she
Black
was.
Siren.
Black Siren. That's
Nailed it.
So she is wondering why Oliver didn't bring her back and kept me here instead.
Right.
And then it's just, you know.
Yeah, so Arrow had a couple of episodes left after Crisis, which was weird. I mean, I'm glad they got the last episode.
Yeah.
The second to last episode I thought was really dumb and seemed to be in the service of kicking off a pilot for
it was a backdoor
spin-off
pilot
that they're trying to do, which I was not interested in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, because it was based around strong women, but I was annoyed with Mia the whole time. She showed up where I didn't think she needed to be, and then just kept being there.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
I just did, weren't you listening?
What?
But the Arrow finale was exactly what it needed to be. And it was just a beautiful way to close off this character who started this universe.
Yeah. And, quick, one more thing about Crisis.
Okay.
That I can't remember now.
Oh, so it was important.
It was important. Yes. There it is. So, the Earth mourns for the loss of Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
Like, there
the
is...
female president.
The female president, exactly. So, like, the whole world recognizes Oliver as a hero, essentially. And they build him a statue that says he saved this city on the bottom of it, which is beautiful.
Are you crying?
Yeah. But the heroes, who are also mourning the loss of their friend...
Oh, fuck, that's right, yeah.
I don't know how we could not have done this earlier.
Right.
There was a warehouse that they practiced in. It was an old airplane hangar.
That we had seen in previous crossovers.
Yeah.
And you were like, that looks like the Hall of Justice.
Yeah, they would show, like, shots of the outside of it, and it was, like, overgrown with foliage and stuff. I was like, wait a minute. That looks like the Hall of Justice. Like, and that's, like, in one of the earlier crossovers.
And they kept showing, like, more and more of it, and you were like,
yeah,
that's the Hall of Justice.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's, like, the fountain outside.
Right.
And
you're like, they must just not be allowed to say it. Because,
yeah, there must be something.
Right.
Why is it there?
Why are they being weird about that?
Like, it's super cool, but it's also, like, they're just not acknowledging.
Yeah, they're dancing around it.
To them, it's just an airplane hangar, whatever.
Right.
But then, in this crossover, we go back to that location, and they have Oliver's suit in a glass box on display.
Yeah.
And they light a ceremonial, like, arrow in flames.
Yeah.
To have a moment of silence for...
To honor Oliver
Queen. And then Barry's like, and you know, I was thinking... That's basically what he starts with. And
that's who he is.
And, like, you know, the world's gonna need us again. And I thought it would make this whole thing easier.
And you saw something in, like, the background of the shot. You're like, oh my god, 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 oh my god.
So it's this moment that's happening where they're, like, eulogizing Oliver Queen.
Nice.
Yeah. And they're, you know, it's just real sad and everything. And then Barry, like, the focus is on Barry, and he's, like, walking back and telling this story or whatever. And in the background, I see this... It's
covered with
out
a
of
sheet.
Focus. It's covered with a sheet, and I'm like kind of studying the shape. And I was like, no, they can't be. No.
And then they did.
And then Barry rips the sheet off, and we have the round table with 7 chairs. Everyone their logo is on the back of all the chairs. There is a giant, like, shield with a star, like a badge, in the center of the table. And then there's one chair left for Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
And they do the Hall of Justice. They do it so well.
And our couch will never be the same.
I pooped my pants again.
We should have gotten him a diaper by this point.
Yeah, probably.
It's disgusting.
That's on you.
A little bit.
Nice.
Thank you.
so they like have this moment.
I'm not mad.
Yeah, where they're just like, oh, this is cool. Like, they're all together. This is where they're gonna do their crossovers and talk about things that are happening in the world. And then we hear like this like monkey, and Oliver, or
rest in peace.
Yeah, it would have been Oliver, but
right.
Barry, who's the new Oliver, is just like looking around like, he says something like, I wonder why this place was so cheap or something. I can't actually remember what it is, but he's like, is that a monkey? And then like it pans to the outside, and there's like this open cage with the word Gleek on it, and that is the monkey for the Hall of Justice that's just like bombing around, like as they're solving crimes and saving the universe. Monkey's just like eating a banana in the corner as like an unofficial mascot. But
comic books are so
the monkey
weird.
also belongs to the Wonder Twins, which they combine their rings and they can transform into anything, like a bucket of water.
Alright, is that relevant right now?
I mean, yeah, because they also worked with the Justice League on the Super Friends. And that's my whole point, is that they're all super friends.
No, and that entire universe just got better.
The fact that they did that, and like, I don't know what it means for the future.
Right.
So
neither does anyone.
In the Arrow finale, I don't know how much you wanted to talk about the Arrow finale.
I wanted to touch on it.
Okay.
We're gonna close that off.
Yeah. So at the very end, Diggs is given the...
Not Diggs.
Diggs.
Dig.
Diggs. David
John
Diggs.
Diggle. Dig.
Isn't the nickname though Diggs?
No, it's Dig.
I feel like somebody says Diggs.
You say Diggs because you fuck it up. It's just Dig, I promise.
Fine. Dig.
A Hunsky Perskonsky.
Mr. Diggle.
Sure.
Is giving like the final voiceover of like, you know, what it means for them and like their future and everything.
Okay, so before that, so the finale of Arrow is like a lovely memorial to Oliver, and they do like an Iron Man style funeral. Yeah. And like I was, watching the whole episode and watching all of these characters that some of them we haven't seen in several seasons come together.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of get why they're not bringing in the other heroes because, this is about Arrow. Yeah. But then Barry and Kara showed up for the funeral. Yeah. It was just like a quick second, which was all it needed to be because they were friends
and they
respected him. Yeah. Barry especially would not have missed that. Yeah. Yeah. Go on. Diggs. And his voiceover.
Now there was something else I wanted to talk about because you said it. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, great.
It was literally just about moving on.
Yeah.
Like, so, Felicity also comes back.
Which, like, she fucking better.
She should have been the first one there. But yeah, Mia. Yeah, she's there. Thea's there. Like, his half-sister's there.
Rory, who was
Rory's
there for
there,
4 episodes.
But like everyone comes back, and Dig is the one giving the eulogy because
of course
he's his brother.
Yeah, he would.
And I believe it's the eulogy that he's talking about, like things in the universe and that things are unpredictable and you don't know what's out there, and family is the strongest thing, and like everything you want in a eulogy, but also from
for
Dig.
the conclusion of Arrow.
And it's showing like snippets of like where everyone is and what they're doing.
Right.
And it shows Dig, who has now moved to Metropolis, which
we don't have time to get into
does a whole nother thing.
Right.
And there's this. It kind of just looks like a meteorite on fire crashing to the ground.
Yeah. And
I'm sitting here like, if Dig is in Metropolis, then what does that mean? Is there like, I was thinking like other Kryptonians that crashed down and why Dig would be there and all these things.
Right.
And then Dig goes up to the thing because he's no stranger to the
weird.
Yeah. At this point.
Right. Although he wasn't in Crisis very much either.
That's true. And the parts that he was in was, like, not as good as they should have been.
Yeah.
And he, like, finds this box or whatever, and then he opens it up, and there's this green light emanating out of it. And it's...
End scene.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's where it ends.
Yeah.
And I lost my shit because...
Again.
I pooped a third time.
It's been more than 3.
In that episode.
Sure. That checks out.
And I've talked about this, I'm pretty sure in the live stream maybe, and then in a few other episodes when we've touched on it, but the Barry Allen from Earth 90 came back in a crossover once, was next to Dig and was like, John, I almost didn't recognize you without your ring, or something real spot on about him being potentially a Green Lantern from a different Earth. And if all the Earths
got
shuffled around, it would make 100 per quantity.
Why did not you warn me?
Yep, that is the name of the show.
Bam.
It would
finger guns. You
make
can't
100% sense.
100%.
Yeah. That Dig, almost said it that time, that Dig would have the Green Lantern ring, and John Stewart, who is a Green Lantern in the comic books, is super important, and like I would just love that journey for him.
Okay. Yeah, so Arrow ended and it was great.
In summary.
Right, we discussed Kate Kane and what is happening in her universe.
Yeah.
Flash, again, still is sort of the voice of how this multiverse thing is going to work going forward.
Yeah.
We've only had one episode of Flash since Crisis.
Right.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
I might actually like Iris for the first time in 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Dig also shows up in this first episode.
Doesn't mention anything about his mysterious green box.
No, so we're not sure of the timeline of that, if that was a super flash forward.
Super flash forward? I hate you.
What?
Nothing.
Like more than the average flash forward.
I'm going to leave forever.
No,
Goodbye.
No.
Yeah, so Flash is sort of reestablishing how the world works.
Yeah, because the world is different.
Right, yeah. Dig shows up to give Barry Oliver's mask, which was bequeathed to him, and, you know, Barry has a very realistic freak out of dealing with what that means. And big news is that Cisco apparently left. We don't know what that means. We don't know where he's going or how long he'll be gone.
About leaving because so he gets his powers back, the Vibe powers.
Yeah.
However, because in the earlier season, it wasn't the beginning of the season, he gives up his powers with the quote-unquote cure for dark matter. Basically, a vaccine for dark matter.
Right.
And so he's dealing with getting his powers back, but also that, like, the Nash, or the wells that we have on this Earth, really fucked up.
Hugely.
And inadvertently got rid of his wells, like on Earth 2. Like, Earth 2 doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
like Jesse Quick is gone.
Yeah.
The HR.
Yeah. It just sends Cisco down this, like, path of, I don't know.
What should I have done?
Yeah.
And, so Cisco needs some time. He and his binder are going to go somewhere.
He has to also figure out the history of all their past
like where
fights.
All the bad guys are.
There's like a Pokemon card size book of all the villains that they've dealt with.
Yeah.
And the rules have changed.
Yeah.
And Cisco's having trouble coping with that.
Right. So he has to figure out who he is in this post-crisis world, which is a direct quote. So that's where the Flash is.
Yeah, Iris is chasing down leads and... Yeah,
being a badass for the first time. And
there's this mysterious villain called Black Hole.
Right.
Which, like, literally has a hired gun to shoot what's approximate to a black hole, I guess, that like eats up everything that has touched it.
Right. Very sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, like, the only real prediction I can make based on what we've seen is the black hole is
the kid
Chester or whatever, the kid that had dark matter in his eyes. But
I don't
also,
remember what happened to him.
I think they cured him, but because Earth's fucked up again, I think they have a villain now.
Nice.
Which makes his whole inclusion in the beginning make sense.
Right.
Because that didn't lead up to anything other than, okay.
Yeah, big tension.
I know Barry, like, runs through a black hole and catches him out of the center of it and out the other black hole, but even the material when those purple black holes hit looks
it does look like his thing.
His eye goo.
Gross.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. His
disgusting.
eye black holes.
Right. So, Arrow's over. Kate Kane has her sister back.
Yeah.
Flash is being awesome like the Flash. Supergirl, Lex Luthor's now apparently a good guy. So
when the Earths were redone, Lex Luthor always has an ulterior motive with everything he does.
Right.
And
for real estate or something.
He knows what, the other Earths were like because he was part of that whole endeavor. But he was able to rewrite his role in the universe, or in that Earth, where he is like, he's not the president. He's
close.
He's like, whatever, like the city council member. He's like a figurehead in Metropolis or National City.
Right.
Is a good guy, has Nobel Peace Prizes.
Yeah.
Everyone loves him, and Kara's the only one that's like that dude is not good, and I don't trust him. And then he lets her know he's in on it too, and like there's nothing she can do because if she kills a good guy,
then she's a bad guy.
Like a bad PR thing.
Right. Yeah. So that's where Supergirl is. We don't quite know where Legends is because they're going to be everywhere.
So since they're a time traveling band.
They can be wherever the fuck they want.
What it looked like is that they're going back in time and trying to fix history in certain ways.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what that will do. It just looks like a really fun show, and I'd love to watch it, but probably won't.
Good luck.
It's just with Batwoman and Flash, I get everything I need out of these. Like, Arrow was it, but now Batwoman has taken its place.
Yeah, so that's where we are with Crisis and with this post-Crisis world.
Yeah.
Excited
like a super strong
see where they go.
Universe and wonderful characters, and I'm so glad it exists.
Kate Kane's episodes, like the episodes of Batwoman, have gotten consistently better, and it, to the point where we sort of wondered if they were just killing time until Crisis.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't do anything super cool with her.
Right.
Yeah.
And it really depends on how this Alice and Beth thing plays out.
Ah.
Because what we have here, or what we saw last time, can really change the rest of her character arc for this season.
Yeah.
And it would only make sense because the first half of the season was all about, like, who Beth is, or Alice is, or whatever.
Yeah.
And now they have to make a choice, like, which one's going to stay, and if it's Beth, will she eventually become Alice?
Right. And it also, it establishes a precedent for the rest of this universe.
Yeah.
That if extras show up from other Earths, like, they have to be done away with.
Yeah.
Or, The rules are different, the game is different, the players are the same.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
They can literally cast anyone they want to as Batman now because they've kept him off screen, but also the Earth everything's changed.
We got like a huge payoff moment in Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
I almost sort of hope they cast another unknown, like Tyler Hoechlin.
I would like that too. As much as cool as it would be to see like Ben Affleck for whatever reason show up
to agree to do like a stint on the CW. Write him a letter.
Because Kevin Smith has done episodes of Supergirl and the Flash.
Oh yeah.
And he has a show called Fat Man Beyond. So his ties with Batman are deep, and now he's friends with Ben Affleck again. Cast Kevin Smith?
Yes.
I mean, he's thin now. He just has to shave his beard.
Wow, so Batman has to be thin?
No, he doesn't.
That's rude.
But Kevin Smith would have been the first to tell you that.
He would also never play Batman.
No, he
Not
said
in like a serious capacity.
if he had been friends with Batman, or Ben Affleck, sorry. If he had been friends with Ben Affleck when he was being Batman,
yeah.
Kevin Smith was like, I could have been like the Penguin, and Jay Muse could be like the Riddler, and this would be so cool. Cause,
be a family production.
Yeah. If it were made in the 90s, it would definitely have been. But that's where the DCCW is. The DCEU is also taking a different turn, and we'll get to that in our next episode, but I think that is a perfect place to stop.
Love it. Love you. Let's get out of here.
All right. Thanks for listening. My name's Matthew, TheDoctorDanko.
I'm the Flash.
No.
I'm Hillary Crown.
That's right.
And I'm going to go make ribs and potato salad. Bye.
Bye. Once the show ends, please don't shed those tears. We'll come back again, so have no fear. Oh, we told you that it just might end up this way. What's the show called again? You cannot be saying, why didn't you warn me? Why didn't you warn me now? Why didn't you warn me? Why didn't you warn me? Why didn't you warn me? Why didn't you warn me now?